Welcome to the Career Fair Crash Course. This session is going to cover everything that you need to know to get ready for career fairs, be successful during career fairs, and what to do as follow-up. I'm Brooke Brown from the Career Center, and I coordinate career fairs. So I'm excited to talk with you all about how to be successful in these great events. Here are some of the topics that we'll cover today, and that includes where to find information about career fairs, including the employer list, how to get ready for the fair, and that includes your resume, elevator pitch or introduction, and what to wear. And we'll definitely be talking about how to talk with employers at the event. In the Career Center, anytime we do career presentations, we like to emphasize career skills. These are 8 areas that employers tell us that they're really looking for in candidates. So we want you all as students and alums to be developing and showcasing these 8 career skills. Today's presentation is going to focus on 2 of them in particular. We'll talk about professionalism, and we'll also be talking about communication, specifically how to communicate with recruiters. I have a list on the screen of upcoming career fairs for fall 2025. If you're viewing this presentation and these career fairs are over, so if you're viewing this presentation in a different semester, I want you to know the information that this presentation will share is still relevant to you. But I have included a list of upcoming fairs on the screen as well as a QR code. Some of these career fairs are directly planned by the Career Center, like the STEM Fair, Fall Fair, and Part-Time Job Fair. The other fairs that you're seeing are planned by academic departments or colleges. The majority of the information we share is still relevant for those events. Let's start by talking about what is a career fair. So, if you're someone who's never been to a career fair before, I want to give you a few pictures and a little bit of insight into what to expect when you're there. So, I've got 2 pictures on the screen from a recent career fair. You'll see that there are a variety of employer tables throughout the event. So, each employer has a table and they'll bring display materials, giveaways, information about their company, an event, tablecloths, things like that. So you'll be able to find them. And throughout the event, you'll be going around and having conversations directly with recruiters and other staff from these employers. I have 2 more pictures for you. The picture on the left shows the check-in for career fairs planned by the Career Center. So when you first get to one of our career fairs, you'll check in at laptops. We'll get you checked in for the event. We'll give you an event program and we'll print a name tag for you. I do want to share that some of the career fairs, especially the more major career fairs each semester, can be pretty busy. And the picture on the right kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of what that might be like. So I do want to prepare you. There may be a lot of students there at the event, but there will be a lot of employers, and there's still great opportunity for you to be able to make those direct connections with employers that are hiring for positions. All right, so a little bit on how to navigate the career fair. This is one of the most frequently asked questions we get from students. If you're attending a career fair that the Career Center hosts, when you get to the event, you'll be given a program or a table map. And the front of that likely looks like what you're seeing here. It will have an overview of the event space with table numbers, as well as how to access additional information about employers. So if you look at the diagram on the right, in the middle of it, you'll see a URL and you'll see a QR code. And you can use those to find information about the employers attending the event. The program that we hand to you will have a list of all of the employers in attendance, as well as their table number. So let's look at the left side of this screen, and you're seeing what a typical kind of employer location looks like. And so here the employer is located at B58. So that's their kind of table number. So if we look at the diagram, we have the area divided into different sections by the letter. So this event is happening in the Halden Arena or in the Student Activity Center, kind of the Halden Arena part of that. You'll enter into the event from the bottom of what you're seeing on the screen, and that's the food court just outside of Halden Arena, and that's section F. So you'll check in for the event in section F. And there may be no employers, a few employers, or a lot of employers in that food court or in that section F. But there will always be employers also inside of the arena, and I want to make sure that you don't miss those employers. Once you enter into the arena, you'll be located in section E, and then section A starts on the right-hand side. And if you see it goes A and then B and C up at the top, and then section D on the left. So let's take a look at that table number B58. That tells us that the employer's table is located in section B, kind of in the top right, and that their specific table number is 58. So we can look at the numbers on the tables to find 58, which I've circled in red on the screen. So that's how you will find employers at the event. Let's think a little bit about kind of why you're attending a career fair or what you can get out of a career fair. So I'd like you to think about your own reasons for attending the event. When students and alums attend career fairs, they can have a variety of purposes. They might be interested in doing some general networking and building connections. They might be exploring different careers or exploring different companies to try to decide what's the best fit for them. And then, of course, many students and alums attending career fairs are looking for specific positions. And employers that attend career fairs, the vast majority of the time, they have open positions that they're recruiting for. That might be full-time, part-time, internship, co-op positions. We also have graduate programs that will attend the career fair to speak with prospective graduate students. We'll start by talking about some things that you should do to get ready for the fair. The main document that you'll need to have with you at the career fair is your resume. You don't need to bring a cover letter or a references sheet. You don't need to bring a transcript. Basically, you just need to bring multiple copies of your resume printed out. So it's important that you take time before the career fair to make sure your resume is professional and polished. The Career Center has information on resumes in our career guide, which you can access online, or you might have a paper copy from being in the Career Center. If you upload your resume to Hire a Niner, and this is the first time you've uploaded a resume, you'll get feedback from our staff about your resume. You can also take advantage of our drop-in hours to get feedback on your resume. I do like to share that the week of career fairs, drop-in hours at the Career Center can be very, very busy. So if you can, get your resume reviewed before the week of a career fair. So we talked about resume. The other thing you want to do when preparing for the event is to prepare your introduction. So sometimes this is called an elevator pitch or an elevator speech, but basically it's a brief introduction of yourself that you can share with an employer. That can be a great way to kind of break the ice and get the interaction started. And if you're someone who's feeling a little nervous about a career fair, maybe you're someone who's an introvert like me, I think preparing an introduction can be a great way to increase your confidence because at least you'll feel good about kind of the first thing that you'll say to an employer. So we'll talk through what should be in this introduction. It's really just a couple of sentences, and it's about you, your major or the program you're in, what kind of opportunities you're looking for, and maybe a little info about a leadership position, an internship, relevant experience, or technical skills. There's an example elevator pitch on the screen for you to check out. And then we also have kind of some bullet points about the kind of things to include in your introduction. It's a great idea to prepare an introduction in advance. And I also encourage you to practice sharing your introduction, whether that's just saying it out loud or sharing it with a friend or roommate, partner, something like that, just to get you a little bit of practice saying your elevator pitch out loud. It's also really important that before the event, you do research on the organizations that'll be there. When employers attend career fairs, we give them a survey to ask them for feedback. And one of the top things that they recommend that students do is to do a little bit of research on their organization before they get to the career fair. So first, let's talk about how you can find information on those employers. If it's a career fair hosted by the Career Center, we'll have a list of employers on the website leading up to the event. I'm actually going to jump out of the slide deck so I can pull that up for you. So I pulled up the page for our STEM fair. And so at the top here, you're seeing information about the event, tips, and then you can start to see a list of employers that are attending the event. For any of these employers, you can click on them and it will open up an accordion to give you information about the employer, what they're looking for, who they're recruiting, what positions they're filling, as well as a link if you'd like to learn more about the organization. So you can use that list to do some research on employers leading up to the event. You'll also get a program when you get to the event, and it will have a QR code and a link to this employer list. One of the things that I wanted to show you is you do have the ability on this page to filter employers. There's a filter button on the right-hand side, so I will click on that. So this opens up some filters, and you can filter the list of employers by any one of these filters at a time. So for example, if you're looking for internships at the fair, you can click the internship button. I can scroll down and now I see that this list is filtered by employers who say that they're offering internships, which is a long list. I'll go ahead and clear the filter. Another filter that may be particularly important for some of you watching this presentation is if you're an international student, which is a student on an F1 visa, you may want to check that, click that button right here, that student visa button. That is going to filter the list by employers that say that they're open to meeting students that are on an F1 visa. So just note that there's a filters button on the right-hand side, and so you can filter employers to find the ones you're most interested in. All right, and then as you're doing research on employers, I want you to be making a list of the employers that you want to talk to. You might make a few notes on that list, maybe about questions you want to ask, maybe if there's a specific position you're interested in. I also encourage you to prioritize that list. So put it in priority order so you know what employers you want to definitely be able to meet with at the fair. At times, fairs can be crowded, and that may mean that you may have a wait time to talk to some employers. So get a priority list in order, and then you can make sure to talk to the employers that are at the top of that list. So let me talk to you about who you'll meet at the career fair. Each employer will bring multiple staff members or representatives, and those can be a variety of people. They might be human resources people or recruiters. You may find UNC Charlotte alums at the event, and you may want to be on the lookout for these green alumni ribbons by the name tag of the employers. That will show you if you're talking with a Charlotte alum. Um, Companies may bring current interns, current coworkers. They may bring hiring managers, maybe people in supervisory roles. Some people may be doing kind of technical work, and others may be doing pretty non-technical work. So the people that you talk with at the career fair, they can represent a variety of roles within that organization. And then let's talk about what to wear at a career fair. So we definitely recommend that you dress professionally at a career fair. And by that, we mean business professional or business casual. At many career fairs, it's pretty common to see students and alumni wearing suits at the event. So if you want to wear a suit, you'll be in good company with that. If you don't have access to a suit or prefer not to wear a suit, I recommend at least dressing business casual. And by that, I mean no shorts, t-shirts, athletic wear, yoga pants, nothing really casual like that. But the pictures on this screen and the last screen that we looked at give you a few ideas of the kind of attire that would work well for a professional event like a career fair. And if you're unable to access professional attire, the Career Center has a professional clothing closet. You can stop by the Career Center and look through the clothing that we have available and hopefully find some things that would work for you. All right, so you've done the preparation that you need to, and now you're actually at the career fair. So let's talk through what that looks like. So here's a little bit of an overview of what that interaction is like with an employer. So there will be a brief introduction. They'll likely share their name. You can share your name. There may be a handshake. And I recommend that you just take your cue from the employer. If the employer reaches out their hand, then great, you can do a handshake. And if they don't, that's fine. This is also the time at the beginning of the conversation for you to share your introduction or your elevator pitch with them. You'll probably interact with the employer for a couple of minutes. They'll very likely have some questions for you. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. You'll have time to probably ask 1 to 2 questions of the employer. So think carefully about what you want to ask and know that you're not going to have 5 or 10 minutes with an employer. Instead, just the time to ask a couple of questions. During that conversation, you'll offer them your resume or they'll ask for your resume. And then at the end of the conversation, I recommend that you thank them for the conversation or thank them for being there for the career fair. They might have a QR code for you to snap. They might have a job description or a handout, or you might ask if they have a business card for follow-up. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of questions you might get at the career fair. And I've listed a variety of topics here that you might get. So you might get a question like, tell me about yourself. And that's a great time to share your introduction. You might be asked about your long-term or short-term career goals, what kind of position you're looking for at this time. You might be asked about your timeline. So what semester you're looking for a position, or maybe when you would be able to start a full-time position. You might be asked if you're willing to relocate or if you have a location preference. If you're um, if you're a technical student, you might be asked about specific technical skills or projects that you have. You might be asked a question like, what do you know about our company? So again, that's another reason why it's a great idea to do a little bit of research. All right, and then let's talk about after the event. So, most people are not going to get actually hired at a career fair. The career fair can be kind of one step in the hiring process. So, after the career fair, if you have an email address, I recommend that you send a follow-up email within 1 to 2 days of the career fair. You can share your continued interest in their positions. Thank them for choosing to be at the career fair. If you applied for the job online, you can let them know that. So that might be what's in a follow-up email. If they gave you information about their job postings or if you were able to snap a QR code, it's a great follow-up activity to actually apply for their jobs online. Some of them may post positions on Hire and Einer, so that's another great place to check for their positions. And then if you got a business card or if you were able to make note of the name of the person that you talked with from that employer, it's a great idea to look them up on LinkedIn and connect with them there. That's a great way to follow up and also maybe stay involved, learning about what positions they have available. I have a handful of final tips for you, just kind of quick tips. So it's a great idea to smile and make eye contact when you're talking with an employer. You're going to want to show energy and interest in their organization. It's a great idea to be able to share why you're interested in their organization. That also will help to showcase that you've done some research ahead of time. At career fairs, there's often a little bit of small talk. So that might be small talk about, have they been to campus before? It might be small talk about the weather or sports, something like that. But oftentimes, small talk is a part of career fairs and networking events. I encourage you to be yourself. Employers really want to know that you have a good understanding of who you are, what your skills are, and what you're looking for. And they'll want to be able to see that through the conversation. And then do know, especially if you're at a career fair that's busy, you'll want to keep your conversation short. I would say probably just a couple of minutes. You'll likely have the opportunity to answer some of their questions and ask 1 or 2 of your own questions. But I recommend being aware if there's a line of students waiting, make sure not to overstay your welcome. Have a really great, strong conversation with the recruiter, and then move on to be able to talk with other employers. My final slide is some tips for any international students watching this presentation. So if you're an international student or a student on an F1 visa, I have a couple of topics for you in particular. Work authorization is likely something that will come up during the conversation with the employer. They may ask you about your work authorization, and or you may want to ask them about work authorization. So I recommend being ready to share about your work authorization, pretty kind of straightforward. And there's an example on the screen. An example is I'm authorized to work under OPT for 24 months after graduation without visa sponsorship. So that's one kind of succinct way to share your work authorization. Um, Networking, career fairs, and professional settings in the US can be different than what those events look like in other countries. So take opportunities to practice cultural communication. If you can, do some observation. So observe US networking styles. And those could be things like watching for how handshakes happen, the role of small talk, and those conversations. And then build language confidence. If English is not your native language, build your confidence in speaking in English by doing things like practicing your introduction with others. You could even work with a career coach on that. And your goal, of course, is not perfection, and employers aren't looking for perfection. You do want to strive to be clear in your communication. I'll also make a note that at events or at career fairs that maybe are a little more crowded, there can be a higher noise level. So as you practice your communication, do make sure that you're able to put some volume into your speech. And then when you're talking with an employer, you may want to ask about their sponsorship practices. And that question could sound like, does your company hire candidates on OPT or consider H-1B sponsorship for long-term roles? And that can be a great question to ask them so that you get information that you're looking for when it comes to making a decision about where to apply. All right. Well, I hope this gave you some great information on getting ready for career fairs, being successful in those conversations, knowing what to expect, and being able to do the follow-up needed after the career fair. We're happy to have you connect with us. We're physically located in the Adkins Annex next to Adkins Library, and you can find us online at career.charlotte.edu.